Hola, mi cara madre. This video is going to speak to colors. I'm thinking if I can cover all three in a clip, maybe, but I'm gonna try and keep them short. So I think I'm probably gonna go for, yeah, I'll go for let's go for individual colors. This one will speak to reds, I suppose. Pull it out of the roulette wheel of the mind. Reds, as I've said, are emotional. They're spiritually based. Which emotion is spirit. That's as I said, we're trying to simplify everything. So we're going to bring everything into the simplest possible terms. Now, spirit, emotion, will, really, consideration. Spirit is a transcendent thing. It's not. It's so far as we can tell, it's not physical. Emotions are not physical. They are like the ground. Whatever's there at the bottom, beneath the bottom, whatever's creating the foundation of reality, it's resounding with emotion, with love, intention, investment. And so I suppose you could say that, in a manner of speaking, giving it, a thought experiment approach, it is it is physical in a manner of speaking. I mean, it kind of has to be in order to exist. But at the same time, emotions, they do have a body that you can identify. If you're capable of observing four dimensions, you'll be able to envision emotions and you can see what they kind of look like. But yeah, they're physical. They have a body, they have a form, but it's matter that we can't touch. We can't quite get to it. We can't investigate it really. I mean, I can see it. I can see emotions, but vaguely and without any without any purposeful, reasoning to it. It's kind of pointless. They're asymmetrical too. So they're just kind of spilling out fluidly. So yeah, that's where matter disappears. Emotion is the point where physical matter kind of dissipates into this void that is unknowable insofar as we can tell. However, the Remnants program is going to investigate that. In any case, Reds are passion oriented. They're driven by their passions, their interests. They're easily swayed emotionally, and they can tend to like break. This is one of the difficulties with Reds is that they get very easily invested emotionally in things, and they tend to be swayed very easily because they're exceptionally empathic. Reds that master themselves and their abilities will be able to control their emotions, and by extension they'll be able to control others because reds innately, just unintentionally, really influence other people's emotions depending on how they feel. A red is the person that walks in the room and lights everybody up because they're happy, or brings everybody down because they're sad. That's a red. And powerful reds that master themselves and build their ability will be able to intentionally influence the emotions of others in a wide scale too. And they, if they're happy, if they're charged, if they're energetic, they can boost you, they can charge you, and that's why they serve as a battery for the initiative. Um, as I said, they're the ones that are going to be asking what, they're going to be asking who, they're going to be interested in what has transpired or what is transpiring because they are just instantaneously, autonomically invested in it. Everything is a part of them. They understand that oneness because they are coming from that level that is, the closest to it. And so Reds just have a great deal of passion. However, strangely enough, I suppose we were looking at creativity from a skewed perspective, but you would usually consider creativity to be like artistic work, where that's not necessarily the case. In fact, artistic work is like an extension of creativity. Artistic work is emulating creativity, while creativity is actually your immediate behavior. It's you're creating yourself, you're creating the world around you through the way that you behave. And so that's real creation, that's real creativity, while artwork is kind of like trying to record it, trying to emulate creativity. And of course it's one and the same thing. It's not is there's no difference to it. But for Reds, their life is their artwork. You'll rarely find a Red that's like creative artistically, in the sense that they draw or write. They're not really going to be too invested in that sort of thing, and this is because they are more invested in their personal interactions. Reds are always going to be, of course, romantic types. They'll fall in love a lot, tend to have a lot of loves in their life, but when they find that one, they're going to be dedicated, and ultimately they're dedicated to whomever they're with at the time until it changes. They will easily become dedicated to others, and then they'll leave the ones that they were dedicated to until they fall into a bracket that fits and they stick. And that's the behavior of them, as insofar as we have examined so far. That's a pattern they tend to follow. But they're always going to be very invested in everyone around them and in lives, and can be very caring and empathic. How unless they break, unless they go bad, so to speak, then they can be very uncaring and use that innate ability to destroy the emotions of others and to hurt people. That can happen. But ultimately they're the empaths. They're the people you would call empaths, is these and sensitives, is these Reds. And they're of course beautiful people. Everybody's beautiful people, but they're extremely beautiful people, and they will, if trained properly, and that is to say, not necessarily trained by a spotter or by anyone in particular. Everyone trains themselves throughout their lives. The world is training you. The world is your master. The God figure is your trainer, your spotter, ultimately, and under its tutelage, you are the creator of yourself. So, you know, forth with that, Reds that are trained properly in a positive manner will become exceptionally wise people. And they'll be your greatest advisors. They'll be your greatest safety net. They'll be the greatest love you've ever had. Reds are exceptionally important people in that regard. And they're just, they have that ability to affect the emotions of others, but they're not necessarily going to be immediately creative in any hands-on sort of way. They're creative in their lives and the way that they treat people, and the way that they reprogram themselves. So that's as much as I can say about Reds. I'm already over the limit in time. Can keep these under 10 minutes, but I want to try for shorter because I don't know if you guys will watch them. uh, Thank you for this time. Kila Salai, Terviuni CR, Namaste.